Hello, how's everybody doing? I hope you all are good and well. Well, my name is Marjorie Cook. A lot of people call me Drika, as you can see in the bottom of the screen. And I will be, for week 6, discussing adult attachment security and young adults, dating relationships over time, using 3 different forms of evidence: self reported, observational, and psychological. I wanted to revert back because I also wanted to mention that this article is by Ashley Holly, conducted at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign in 2010. Let's get into what we were doing today. So today's agenda, I want to mention some important terms, a little article overview, some methods, findings, and discussion, some after movies, a little juicy, and the discussion question. So let's get into the important terms. Excuse me, I'm a little sick. So the first one is adult attachment interview. Abbreviation for this is AAI. You'll probably see that a lot throughout the article. Um, an adult attachment interview represents a measure of the new approach for considering how adults working models of childhood relationships are associated with current attachment relationships. This plays a lot in studies pertaining to relationships, um, how well they work and how well they don't work. And I also wanted to bring electrodermal reactivity to your life. This is a measure of a sympathetic activity in which it increases the skin conductance and reflects individuals' preparation for action in response to a threat or challenge. This is pretty interesting, given the fact that a few times that I've been in a little heated arrangement with my significant other, I have felt myself getting a little hot and like I felt heat waves. So it's interesting to learn a little bit about electrodermal reactivity because it's pretty real. It's hard to prove, but you definitely feel it. And let me know if you have ever felt a little electrodermal reactivity in a situation, a little intense situation. So moving forward, I want to bring to your attention 2 different forms of insecurity. The first one I would want to discuss is dismissing, which is also known as deactivating. This dismissing individuals either idealize or normalize negative childhood experiences with caregivers. Now we also have preoccupied, which is also known as hyperactivating. These people either passively or angrily get caught up in childhood experiences. Let's move forward. So, to a little article overview, since we know at least a little key terms. So, the article, the logistics, well, let me tell you, you have the citation right here. It's a great article. I told you earlier by Highland Roseman in 2010, using the 3 different indicators: self reported, observational, and psychological evidence. The logistics of this study focused on the association between attachment security and romantic functioning in dating couples both concurrently and 1 year later. So it's like a longitudinal study. It's over time. In addition to observing the couple's interactions and perceptions of functioning and their electrodermal reactivity during interactions involving conflict. So this wasn't just a meet and greet where you go in and sit in and talk about all the good. They wanted to find out and discover how people react during conflict and if they had any association with electrodermal reactivity or an autonomic response. This is your digestion, the way you think, the way you eat. It's pretty interesting. So, with this article, I want to move forward and talk about a few of the methods that they brought into account when determining whether this was a factor or not. So the first method they used was a heterosexual couple, um, mostly white. 74% of the couples were white. They range from ages 18 to 25, and they got these people from a small Midwest town. So, using a 10-point scale survey with 11 common survey questions, um, I do want to let you know that one was not a problem on the 10-point scale, and 10 being a serious problem. So, as I told you, that they used 11 common survey questions, common relationship questions, and the areas of problem were money, sex, and communication with these questions that they were asked about. So they did this in a time series of a T1 and a T2. So T1, they were able to sample 115 couples, whereas time two, only 57 couples returned due to breakups or whatever happened that made them split apart. So because this was 1 year later, the first time that the couples came in, they were allowed to receive like a $10 compensation, whereas the second time they came back, it was about a $70 compensation. So if you wanted a little free money, this would be something great for you to do. Um, it was interesting to see that the findings as I move forward reverted back to a lot of childhood experience and relationship function. Now, childhood experience seems to be a consistent factor in adult attachment security, not only currently, but prospectively predicted the quality of participants' dating relationships. Now, it is evident that when individuals coherently discuss their childhood experiences, they typically display the same qualities in their children and in other adults that they encounter with. Now, relationship functioning and attachment security with a focus of attachment security of relationship functioning cannot be proven due to cross-sectional focuses because it focused on such a specific time when it's a longitudinal study and it's over the course of a year span. So what I did was it made me super interested in my next slide. Definitely did. Okay, so I do want to revert back to the last slide because I left out an important point. So as I told you about relationship functioning, not it couldn't be proven. Um, it is still stated that insecure adults, which I told you the two terms dismissing and preoccupied, show higher skin conductance. So this is electrodermal reactivity and areas of conflict with their partner. So they're still arguing this, even though the science could improve it just based off of research findings that don't cover this area as much in the longitudinal perspective. Now we can move forward to the important findings that I definitely discovered. So, this article in this discussion, I went further, digged a little deeper, and I went to McCarty. This article was established in 2010 in an association between negative childhood experiences and adult relationships. Now, I wanted to do this because they proved a lot in the main article by Ashley, but I wanted to dig a little deeper and see what I can find on my own. So, with the article with McCarty, I extended my findings and discovered through a sample of internal working models of attachment and quality of adult love relationships using a sample of high-risk women. These are women who didn't grow up, in the best circumstances. And they are reporting negative childhood experiences. Now, of this sample, only half of the sample reported to have problems with their romantic life. And the other half reported to have great, great satisfying romantic relationships. It had literally nothing to do with the way they grew up. So it's easy to say like different strokes for different folks. Some people can use the way they grew up, as a reason for things going badly in their life, or some people can just, be dismissive. Treat it like, oh, okay, it happened, whatever, whatever. Now, after this article, I wanted to go a little bit more deeper because it is important to think about. Let's move forward first. It is important to think about um, the things you learn, like as an infant, and whose care you are in. So, this just made me think about back when I was an infant. And typically, when you're in someone's care, we can't remotely remember like when we were 5 to 6 months, years old, but just based off of science and research, when you're an infant, you're coming into this world, you don't really know much. And so, if you're in the custody of someone who mistreats or, you know, care for you wrong in the sense of abuse, neglect, um, this could be verbal or physical, you're instantly learning the wrong way to love just because that's what's implementing on you. So this study was very intriguing because he argued that adverse childhood experiences are associated with an increased risk of a range of poor psychosocial outcomes in your adult life. So due to things that happen in your childhood, this could be confrontational to your growth as an adult in a social standpoint. And in order to like a social standpoint, it's very important with just getting jobs. The point of getting to know someone, you want to come a great social standpoint at that. So an example of this would be a negative parent-child relationship, as I've already pretty much said, and it has been a link to difficulties in adult love. Yeah. This was really interesting to me. So this topic right here takes me to my Apple movie. I don't know if you guys seen Malcolm and Marie on Netflix, but as I proceed, I left a QR code for you guys to scan your phones to go to the article. It was a little difficult getting the article. Getting the video clip to display on here. I will also put it down in the discussion as well for another easy way for you guys to access the video. But this is a pretty intense clip of Malcolm and Marie. A little background history. Marie is someone who struggled, as a child with mental health. This is due to the way she was raised and her lack of feeling a need of love and care from whoever care she was in at the time. So it makes it hard for her to accept the fact that people actually love her. So I want you guys to take a moment and take a look at this video. It's a great video, very intriguing, and then we'll come right back. Now that you guys have seen that video, isn't it a little spicy? It's pretty intense, but if you haven't watched the movie, I suggest you go watch it. If you're into things like that, it's pretty much one scene, but that's off topic. It's a great movie. It's about relationship conflicts, like an argument in a relationship, and it's definitely intriguing. It's very deep. It's not personal things that I would say to someone. I don't get that personal, or I try not to be. But let's move forward to the discussion question. So, my discussion question for you guys is: do you think early childhood experiences affect the way you respond to confrontation in your romantic life? Explain. This is going to be pretty interesting because personally, I definitely revert back to my childhood experiences. I didn't grow up terrible, but I grew up with a lack of love and care. I grew up mostly off to be independent and resilient because my mom was young and single and she worked all the time. So that's just what she implemented in me. So my struggle is letting people think I need them, you know. And this could be hard for some people who want their partner to feel like they have them in their corner all the time. But that's just how I grew up. My mom told me never depend on anybody, not even her. So just off of those words as a child, it's hard to revert back over and say, Oh yeah, let me just sit here and act like I need you. But I'm very interested to see the discussion and what you guys thought of my presentation and the topic of Malcolm and Marie. Looking forward to reading you guys' stuff. Thank you for your time. Have a good one.